Hey guys, welcome to the QNX Maserati. This is our demonstrator vehicle for CES 2015. In this, we're trying to demo off our new ADAS related features and wonderful integration that we have with some great sensor fusion. As you know, we've been the market leader in infotainment systems with over 50% of the market at the current moment, and we've been in infotainments for 10 years and in clusters for approximately 5 years. I'm just going to turn on the vehicle. Yeah, so as you've noticed, there's a huge trend of getting these ADAS related features, like getting your proximity sensors on the side for blind spot detection, but they tend to be a separate dedicated device in the A-pillar and a little LED light that's completely compartmentalized, in addition to having a front collision warning that's integrated into the cluster. But it's something that's completely compartmentalized. We're trying to bring that into a single unified platform, and that gives us the ability to add extra business logic and sensor fusion and fuse all those things together to give you something that's really accurate and reliable, and that's up there for the end driver and helps them out in great ways. So as you guys can tell, in this vehicle, we've replaced every single mirror with cameras. And if you look out on the side mirrors, they're nice LCDs, 7-inch LCDs that we've mounted cameras further up in front of the vehicle. And that allowed us to get rid of the blind spot completely in this vehicle. So there is no blind spot in this vehicle at all. And here's one cool feature. I can show you how much more we get to see than a regular car. Show standard mirrors. Boom. So right now, you can see that we have a clear section in the middle. That's what your original mirror would show you, obviously in a much bigger format. But with the camera, we're able to pick up so much more. In addition to that, we can even digitally pan it down. So when we actually go into our backup camera, it pans down so that you can make sure that you are not scraping the rims on that nice curb. And as you can see in the back, you've got a couple friends in the back, and even if I wave my hand in front, you don't see that at all. You can have as many people in the back, you can even have not even a window in the back, and yet you can still see clearly. We mounted the camera up in the shark fin up above, and that allows you to make sure that you've got a nice clear view at all times. In addition to that, if you look outside the side mirrors, we've got nice proximity sensors that we've integrated in there for blind spot detection. And that allowed us to integrate it into our obstacle avoidance system, which is this nice little bar that you see over here that's lighting up right now. It's currently lighting up to a LiDAR-based system by a company called Phantom Intelligence, and it's lighting up our Tyco Lights obstacle avoidance system over here, which is just a set of LEDs that are hidden from the driver, but they come up against the windshield and look like they're hovering right in your eye level so that you know exactly what you need to know when you need to know it. So I'm gonna put on the turn signals over here, and as you can see, we're turning over to the right. And for demonstration purposes, we're showing you that the way is clear. But if I stick my hand in the way to pretend as if there's a vehicle on the way, you'll notice that it's glowing red. That way you know for sure that you shouldn't switch over. And again, as you can see, that LiDAR integration in there, as people come close, also pops up in your instrument cluster over here so that you know that you have a front collision warning. But that's what I mean by that whole sensor fusion. We're able to grab all these little things, put them all inside a light bar, and cohesively show you something that's going to help out that driver in the long run. It's a wonderful, nice and tight package. Over here in this cluster, we actually partnered up with Rightware. And Rightware is the technology that you saw in the Audi TT last year that's come into production. It's a super nice GPU-centric solution that gives us minimal overhead on the CPU side so that we can actually cram a ton of stuff into all this stuff. And we have nice tight integration with our media. And when I hop out, amazing integration with their backup camera. And again, we get those side mirrors that pan down. We actually wanted to take this car to the next level, so we actually ripped out everything that was originally there and we tied in straight into the vehicle CAN bus. Think of like the spinal cord of the car. And we actually grabbed the proximity sensors and the vehicle that are native to the Maserati, and you can see them move around as people are moving around right now. And if you turn the steering wheel, you'll see that those lines shift a little bit. And it's a nice way to figure out where you're going. It's a really, really smooth, instead of having a small little box over here that shows you your backup camera, you've got something absolutely massive that's integrated into your instrument cluster in a nice integrated environment. And again, of course, same with your navigation. You can see that your navigation is in there and integrated, and you can have dual nav both in the cluster and in the infotainment. And here, if I move out, you can see our nuanced natural language processing in action. Navigate to Caesar's Palace. Boom. And now we're going over to Caesar's Palace in Vegas Strip. And this is showing off our Electrobit navigation with their Street Director software that we're able to completely change the colors of that nav such that it mirrors that nice integrated Maserati blue that we have. And in fact, from this, we can actually pick up the speed limit on the road and we update it inside the cluster, and you can see that it's 30 miles an hour right now, and you can see in red exactly how much more you're speeding. It's a nice, cool package. And on top of that, we have Electrobit eHorizons integration that picks up the characteristics of the vehicle, the center of gravity, and the ride type that you want, and lets you know if you're going too fast for a curve. So right now, we're going to be showing up to a curve, and you can see that nice red that's glowing around over there. And again, like I said, that's sensor fusion, so people that are in the LiDAR get overlaid on top of that. And as we pull up a right-hander, you'll notice that it's going to glow nice and right over here in a nice red. And as you noticed, it went from orange to a deep red. And that's because we're picking up how much you're speeding extra. So if you're just speeding a little bit, it's a nice light orange. And if you're speeding far too fast for that curve, we make sure that it's a nice bright red for you to slow down.
What if you don't want to see the red lights because you like to speed a lot?
I'm sure we could disable it. This is just a technology platform to show off what can be done. And again, once we send it off to tier 1 and we link up to an OEM,
okay,
they're more than welcome to have that flexibility to turn it off, enable it. But right now, we've absolutely set it to senior mode comfort and as if the conditions are icy.
Okay.
So it actually picks up the weather conditions and lets you know. So again, these will be going off non-stop, but it's just to show off that technology. In fact, on top of that, you also get those warnings inside the dash as well as your turn-by-turn navigations.
Okay.
It's a really nice integrated package. And that's not just that, that's just the beginning of the story. Once we move into our infotainment over here, our designers decided to come up with a 13-inch portrait display, and then they split it up into 3 quadrants. So 2/3 of it is your nice smooth navigation, because that's what you want to see most of the time. And then down here is your now playing section. This is the part where you see everything that's playing, whether it's the radio, whether it's the media, your incoming phone call, your Bluetooth AVRCP, it's all smoothly integrated in there. And they got rid of the touch buttons that you have, those tactile buttons. And in that, we found out that it's kind of tough because you use those tactile buttons without looking at the screen or anything else like that. You're just looking at the road. But our designers came up with a really cool way of making the entire thing a huge touch box. So I can press play over here, or I can press pause down there. I can actually push it anywhere around, and then it's got nice gesture base to switch over to the next song, and then switch over to the next one, and then again for the previous one. And it made it super comfortable because you can rest your hand on the shifter, and with your index, move it around. Feel free to give it a try, man. And it's great because now you can look up ahead as if you're driving and do that full interaction on a touchscreen without even looking down at it. And again, we're bringing that over completely into the climate control section with the sense of not having to look at the temperature. So instead of having to figure out exactly what temperature you want to dial it down in, you can grab anywhere in here and dial into the exact comfort feel just by looking at the color. And it reduces that driver distraction that everyone's been talking about so much in recent years. In addition, it flows into the audio. So instead of having to actually pick a slider for fade and bounce, you could just grab that dot and move it and dial into exactly what you want, if you want to be the sweet spot or if you want to stick it in the middle for everybody else to hear. And again, not just that, we've leveraged our Internet of Things solution that allows us to have that nice cloud connectivity so that we can have full software updates that are pushed out, and that leverages our BES infrastructure that's super secure and reliable from the BlackBerry space. And over on the media, we've got a nice integrated media package that just comes in right in the middle so that you can pick out exactly which artist that you want in many different ways. This is just to show off the flexibility of the platform. And then over here on radio, everyone's so used to terrestrial radio and there's no real advancements that have been there around, but we actually partnered up with iHeartRadio for a wonderful integration. So right now, 93.1 is my favorite radio station, and it's set as my preset, and I can't hear it right now. And we can envision a system where you're in your home city and you're listening to your favorite radio station. As you start navigating away somewhere further out where it starts to die down, you can't hear anything, we automatically switch over to the iHeartRadio station. That's a digital stream over your data network. And then boom, you got your music that you want when you want it. And then we'll pause that. That leverages our T-Mobile LTE connection at the current moment. And in fact, we integrated our wireless framework that allows you to bring in any single chipset that you want and have that connectivity right away without having to worry about the communication protocols that are underneath there. It abstracts all that away so that you can focus on creating your apps and your development for the infotainment instead of worrying about the connectivity. In fact, this and its sister vehicle, the Jeep that's on the other side of this wall, have 2 different chips, and yet they run the exact same software, and we're able to get connectivity on 4G in addition to tons of other technologies. And on top of that, they've also added a business logic to be able to switch over between different networks, between your home network, your away network, and different types of actual connections. And of course, we've got our standard Bluetooth offering where you can see all your contacts in a nice, easy to use view, and your dial pad. We partnered up with Cybercom for their Bluetooth stack, and it's a wonderful stack. And then over here in the app section, it is a great testament to how flexible the platform is. Over here you have 2 HTML5 applications, and they run on the Torch browser, the leading mobile browser right now, and they're integrated seamlessly without any problems into this Qt-based system. And over here you can see an iHeartRadio application. This is a native Android application that we ported and we put in here on top of our APK runtime. So I'll just pause that over there. And it's a nice seamless app, and it runs alongside the OS. It doesn't run on top. We actually just took Android, ripped out the core Linux, and put in the QNX, and it runs next to each other, so you're not gonna get those slowdowns from a virtual machine. And then of course the Qt settings application is just a Qt app. And absolutely, we support all the projection display technologies that are out there at the current moment. And again, with our cloud connectivity and our T-Mobile LTE, we're able to have a HTML5 application over here that you can leverage on any other phone. And right here we have it on the BlackBerry Classic phone that just recently came out, to be able to show the ability to remotely control something, as well as media, your car location, and maintenance. It's actually a bi-directional pipe, so we can pump in data that's inside the car live, as well as push data back down in order to be able to control things. Well, that's the end of the presentation. Thank you very much for joining us.